Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today's video I'm doing a tier list video. I thought I'd change it up a bit from the trading content. It's still trading content, but I'll be going over different aspects of trading and ranking them on whether they're must-have, important, kind of helpful, neutral or negative. So I just found this one online, and starting with backtesting, it's a must-have. Now, actually, you could debate this whether it's a must-have, because if you're a macro fundamental trader, backtesting is less important. However, it's still important to understand. For example, right now we have the Japanese intervention. What I did is I actually backtested it to see what happened in the past times that Japanese have intervened. So actually, it is very important to backtest. If you trade a purely technical model, I mean, it's a must. You must backtest. It's the only way to gain an edge in the market from past data if you use technicals. Demo, it's important. It's not a must-have. I don't think everyone needs to start on demo accounts. I think now with ACG releasing, $30 or $40 10K accounts, it gives you a bit more real-life emotions that you may feel by putting your money on the line rather than demo. However, I do think for most people, they should be looking to get into demo trading first, build up a few months of experience, a few months of buying and selling, and to see if they actually can get 10% for some of these challenges. Psychological levels. I have a neutral stance on this. I've never used these really in my trading, so I don't really want to be the person who, says if you should be using psychological levels a lot. I guess they can use and act as support and resistance, which could be pretty important, or areas of liquidity which you guys can target. But the next one is books, and I'm a huge fan of trading books. I don't think it's a must-have, but I think it is kind of helpful. I've got some books right here. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. What a book. Probably the first book I read about trading. I've got another one here, Fundamental Analysis. Loads of them. I've got some over here, Technical Analysis. More on fundamental analysis. And some more on like stocks, COT reports, more stuff over here. Loads of books. I love them, and I've learned so much from them. But yeah, news. I actually love the news because I'm more of a swing trader, so the news kind of helps me if I understand and understand what looks good, and how I can read the news. However, for most people, I think it's a negative because they get too obsessed with it, and they actually don't. No one can really predict the news as well. So if you're a scalper, it's not really a good idea to be trading over the news. I think only if you're a longer position trader or swing trader, you can hold these positions through the news, because it literally is just short-term noise. Journaling, must have. Yeah, this is super important. Journaling's the number one thing I'd say to any person. If you're not profitable, look at journaling. How can you work out if you're even profitable if you don't journal? How do you track your winning and losing trades? Maybe you think you're profitable, but if you actually look back over the last few months, you'd find that you're actually at a loss. Maybe you think you're an unprofitable trader, but if you actually look at it and journaled your trades, you would actually be profitable. So I think journaling is super important, not just from a win or loss standpoint, but also like your emotions going into the trade and improving your psychology over the time. I have someone I know called Rut in my Discord. He has created A to C game, and he actually has his own Discord. I can link it in the description below, but he has his own sort of gameplay for himself, whether he thinks he's on A game or B game or C game. He's created a whole template for himself for how he copes in his different A game, B game and C games. So obviously when he's in his A game, he performs very well, and this was only done by journaling. He only found out this from his journals. Stop losses are important. They're not a must-have because a lot of the best traders in the world don't even use stop losses. So I don't want to say, oh yes, everyone needs a stop loss, because that's not true. A lot of good traders will know where they're wrong, but it's just knowing that. A lot of beginner traders, especially, including myself, I couldn't trade without a stop loss because, it's difficult to know when you're wrong. It is difficult, so you do need to sort of have a cut-off point of your risk to say this is how much I'm willing to risk here. I don't want to go over that. Your RR. This is a difficult one. I would say a RR is important. You know, there are people out there who have a negative RR and can still become profitable because their win rate is super, super high. In my opinion, it's a lot easier to have a positive RR, as we know, because that means we don't have to win as much. We don't have to put as much pressure on ourselves to always be right. So it's important to sort of know your average RR as well. So you sort of know, that helps with your determining your profitability, because you know going into a trade, let's say you're down 2 trades, if you don't know your average RR, then how do you sort of know when you may be coming out this losing cycle? Social media. This one, it's kind of helpful to neutral. Most of the stuff on social media, it's a bit ironic because I have a YouTube channel, but I would say a lot of it is, it's not, I'm going to say kind of helpful, because there is some good content out there. There's some cool podcasts where some cool people come on, they who have good experience in the markets, and they do give you some really good source, but a lot of it is complete crap, if I'm being honest with you. And I'm just there to make just beginner videos to get people into a Discord server so that they can sell them a course. So I don't think a lot. I think 80% of the content in trading is not useful and actually just more confusing to you. It's better to learn just a few concepts than trying to understand the whole game. So people there are strategy hopping because they see the next 80% win rate strategy when, you know, it's never that good. Time frame. It's a must-have, because time frames are, working out your time frame, I think, has been the hardest thing for me. I've gone from day trading to scalping to swing trading and started with investing. So it's been one of my drawbacks, because I think I don't cope well on lower time frames from a psychological level. I struggle making quick decisions. And I find myself, when I look at the charts for too long, I make silly mistakes. So for me, it's easier to trade on higher time frames where I can use my macros, my technical analysis, and really give myself time to think of positions that I actually want to be in, rather than rushing decisions where I look back and I'm actually annoyed I ever entered the position in the first place. Multi-time frame analysis. Important, but it's not a must-have. I think it's better to use multi-time frame analysis than to not, but I know a lot of successful people who don't look at multi-time frames at all. They just are stuck on one chart, and in my opinion that's a lot more difficult, because you can get manipulated way more easily. Because if you think you're actually trading a swing point on the 5-minute time frame and you zoom out, you know, you may be on the wrong side of the trend. So a lot of people get stuck on the lower time frames, and they don't incorporate higher time frames at all, which then they get stuck on their bias. I would say though, a lot of people who are good with one time frame can actually see where the swing points are, compared to the beginner traders who may just be marking out every high and low. So it depends on experience. I think it's possible to trade with just one time frame, but it's more difficult. I don't know what position means here, but trade plan, must have. I don't think I have to speak too much about that. If you don't have a trading plan, then you're not even trading, in my opinion. You're just really gambling. Yeah, so I get a trade plan, get a strategy. That would be the best thing for you guys going forward. I would definitely say that. Goals, must have. You must have goals. You know, you don't want to be unrealistic and put time boundaries on something that's already nearly impossible. You know, people there saying, "Oh, I want to get profitable in 1 or 2 years," and it's like, well, you know, let's look at the statistics of that, because it's just unrealistic. I don't think it's really possible to become a professional, full-time, profitable trader in a year. I'm not a full-time trader at all. You know, I've been trading now for a while, and it just takes time. It really does. So You just gotta have realistic goals. Unrealistic, inflated goals won't really get you anywhere. But having small goals every week, maybe every day, every month, will really help. You know, reach milestones as well. So you can see your progression. Because in training, it's really difficult to see your progression because sometimes you end up getting worse, and when you actually may be getting better, you think you're getting worse. But all these habits, you may be making more. You may be making more mistakes, but these more mistakes that you make, you can put in your journals and you can learn from them. So then over time, you'll see that your mistakes start to decrease, and that's when you sort of know you're getting towards that break-even stage to profitable stage, which is really good to see. Volume, it's kind of helpful, but it's not. It's not the full picture. Like, you can use volume, and a lot of people use it. Some of the best traders in the world use volume profile. You know, and they do really well with their order flow stuff. I think a lot of people get confused, especially on CFD forex brokers, trying to use volume when they're not actually looking at the real volume at all. As a swing trader, I don't really worry about volume at all. When I was a scalper, I tried implementing things like fixed range volume tools and stuff, but it never really benefited me that much and never really saw much results from it. Yes, it can be very useful. It just depends on the strategy. It depends on where you trade. If you're a breakout trader, then yeah, you want to have volume on your side. If you're a reversal trader, then yeah, use volume. But if you're a macro fundamental swing trader who's going to be holding a position for days to weeks, then we don't need a lot of volume on our entry to see us winning. Win rate, incredibly important. You need to understand your win rate. You should be able to tell me your win rate tomorrow or today in the next 5 minutes. If you don't know what your win rate is at the moment, then you aren't journaling, and you haven't done back testing as well. You should have your back testing results and your back testing win rate, and then you should have your personal win rate and see how close you can get the two together. And that's the real difficulty is, for example, I used to have back test win rate of 50%, and my actual live win rate was about 35%. So every time I try to get as near as I possibly could, just refining things, and I'm still doing the same thing today. So yeah, and I'm not sure what the last three are. I'm gonna pretend this is COT reports, COR, and I would say must have. No, I'm joking. You don't have to have COT reports, but they are super helpful. If you don't know what COT reports are, you can actually see where real smart money is in the market by literally looking up the COT reports yourself, which is super cool. And I'll be going to be making videos on that as well. But yeah, that's a sort of tier list video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.